Welcome back again to Cannon Fodder TV, the channel, apparently for Arsenal fans all over this world. So it's a surprise live show here. We're going to be talking about Thomas Partey. I've just read some news about him come over the last few hours. We might be talking about some transfer news, possibly, but we're definitely going to be talking about what's happened to Arsenal over the last few games. I mean, Liverpool, West Ham, Fulham. Has Mikel Arteta, has he lost the changing rooms? Has he lost the players? Or is it down to his tactics? Do the players look void of reasons or of ideas? Is it down to him or is it down to the players? We're going to get into this one on the other side of this music intro. Welcome back again to Cannon Fodder TV, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. And I've got to wish each and every one of you a happy new year or new year. I was kind of told off in a live chat when somebody's ranting and raving about Arsenal, Mikel and Arteta. I said, happy new year. And they said, it's not happy new year because I said, look, do not let Arsenal upset your happy life. You've got a happy life. All right, Arsenal are going to do whatever they want to do, irrespective of what we feel and what we say. That was my message, but the person kind of got very, very upset with me. I think, come on, take it easy, man. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. So, like I said, it's a bit of a surprise. Is it a surprise show? Kind of, sort of. But I want to talk about, at least start the show, about these two wingers here. Ah, dear. Now, according to another platform, they're saying that Arsenal have a problem with Bukayo Saka and Saka Martinelli. It is compromising their title bid. Now, I would say the reason why Arsenal have not won their last three games, it's not solely down to Bukayo Saka and Saka Martinelli. They are part of the components, yes, but it's not down to these two players there. Now, in consecutive matches, Arsenal have entered the final 30 minutes in desperate need of a goal. On both occasions, Mikel Arteta has removed Martinelli from the pitch. Against West Ham, it was 64 minutes. Against Fulham on Sunday, it was 67 minutes. Now, Martinelli hooked. Until recently, it would have been unthinkable to substitute the Brazilian with Arsenal in need of attacking spark. But over the past 18 months, few players in the Premier League have been so consistent in causing problems for the opposition. I completely agree. Now, at this point of the season, though there could be no objections, this is a sticky moment for Arsenal, and no player appears to be more stuck between the gears than a 22-year-old who has scored just 2 goals this season. In 18 league appearances this campaign, by comparisons, he scored 15 goals in 36 league matches last season. Now, the problem has been made worse by the fact that Bukayo Saka, another 22-year-old on the other side in Arteta's team, is also enjoying an charismatic challenging spell. Saka scored in the defeat at Fulham, but it was his first goal in 6 matches, and he was a long way off his best. It was Saka who lost the ball in the build-up to Fulham's equaliser. This moment was always going to come back to bite Arsenal on the bottom. Now, the way I see it, Mikel Arteta has to take responsibility for this. I would say other teams have sussed Arsenal out. That's quite apparent to me. Low blocks, we just struggle playing against low blocks. I'm not sure, when you see and when you know a team's going to play with a low block, why can't we change it up? Go direct. Go direct, because that's what West Ham did. Low block, beat us on the counter-attack, but it was so direct. Arsenal, and I love the fact that we've changed our style of football, but it's no use if we play beautiful football, but we're not able to win major honours. That beautiful football, consign it to the locker. We don't need to see that. What do we need to see is gritty performances, getting the wins, because without the wins, we can't win the major prize. So Mikel Arteta has to go back to the drawing board. I know it's going to be a big ask because he can be quite stubborn, very stubborn and quite arrogant as well. And we know he struggles with certain characters, Guendouzi, Aubameyang, and Ozil, and those kind of players there. But it's going to be a massive come down for Mikel Arteta to say, actually, you know what? Let me go back to the drawing board and let me think about different tactics. Because I question why we are not able to modify, change our approach. Because all the other teams do not play the same way in the Premier League. They don't play the same. It's obvious. So why are we not able to, change our approach to a low block, to a team that's just not low block, going to beat us on a counter attack? Why can't we do that? That's down to the manager. Now, I'll get back to the main point about Bukayo Saka and Gabby Martinelli. Teams know how we're going to play with those two wingers. They're going to be hugging the line. They're going to try and take on the fullback, cut it back, maybe come back in again. Because this season, Ben White, what's happened to the overlap? There is no overlap. No overlap. So we come predictable. And that's what has happened to Arsenal. We are still predictable. This time round, our teams have sussed us out. The manager must be able to read the lines, read the signals. What's happening? Change the tactics, modify our approach. We're still not good enough to blow teams out of the water anymore. We're not that good enough. So this lays at Mikel Arteta's door. Gabby Martinelli, he's struggling. Of course he's struggling. Bukayo Saka is struggling. Of course he's struggling. So what should you do? Change things up. If players are off form, then actually, no, we can't do that. We can't drop Bukayo Saka, because who's going to come in there? We've been saying for the last 2-3 seasons that Bukayo Saka needs competition on that right side of the wing. Now, Martinelli, on the other hand, does struggle against the low block. Why can't we put him more central? Or play a Trossard on the left-hand side and allow Martinelli to kind of drift into the centre? Again, tactics. Whatever you see being played out in front of your eyes, look at the tactics, change it up. And the problem is plan A, plan A, plan A, plan A. What about plan B and plan C? We don't have a plan B or plan C. So I understand what the report is saying there, about Martinelli, only 3 goals. Compared to last season, scored 15 goals. Bukayo Saka, he's not cutting it. He's not cutting it. And I understand, we have this love for the star boy, but when the star boy is not performing, what should happen? He should get taken off. He should be dropped because he's off form. He's off form. And so is Gabriel Jesus. And so is Martin Odegaard. We are thin in numbers. I get it. I understand it. Which is why the January transfer window is important to us. Now, I'm going to get to talk about Ivan Toney. Again, someone reminded me that your manager, has mentioned something about Ivan Toney. So I'm not going to talk about Ivan Toney just yet. Okay, so that's the first thing I actually wanted to talk about. There was a lot more information about this report, going in hard on Bukayo Saka and Gabby Martinelli, but I'm thinking it seems like we're not able to talk about those players. I mean, I'll talk about those players, but as a whole, it's like you can't talk about that player because you're marked as being toxic. You're not a supporter of Arsenal. Well, if it means that, then I'm going to talk about those players. Starboy, yes, Starboy, wonderful, but if the Starboy's not performing, you've got to drop them. Gone off form, you have to drop them. That's down to Mikel Arteta. Right, so actually, I think what I will do, I will talk about Ivan Toney. Where's Ivan Toney? Here's Ivan Toney. Listen, Arsenal are going to struggle to sign Ivan Toney in the January transfer window. is towards the top of. So we know he's been a top target over the course of 12 months. But the Gunners have been heavily linked with the Brentford forward in recent weeks, and Tony is said to be really excited about the prospect of joining the North London club. However, the Mail sports chief reporter Sam McCovey has stated that it may be harder than expected for Arsenal to sign Ivan Toney, who's been sidelined serving, we know, the 8-month ban, but etc., etc., etc. But on top of that, Brian Mbueno is out, isn't he? He's out. So, Brentford manager Thomas Frank, had confirmed that Brian Bueno had undergone ankle surgery following an injury sustained in the defeat to Brighton, and is set to be signed for up to 12 weeks. The Cameroon striker will also miss the African Cup of Nations, which starts actually now in January. Brian's a positive guy. He will come back stronger, Frank said. He's has a really good mindset. So you look at that. This guy here, Ivan Toney won't become, because if you look at it from our perspective, all right, just say, for example, that Gabriel Jesus was a top striker, banging 20 plus goals, all right, but he was injured. And we've got maybe another striker who's probably not as good as Gabriel Jesus. But there's been talk about him being linked to another club. Would you let Gabriel Jesus go? No, you wouldn't. And it's the same thing with Brighton, Brentford. They're not about to sell Ivan Toney. I have heard figures of 60, 70 million pounds. I said from the beginning, they put that price tag on him because they do not want to sell Ivan Toney. They don't want to sell him. So with Brian Bueno out for up to 12 weeks, which manager would sell their prize asset in Ivan Toney? Ivan Toney would not be coming to Arsenal. Now, it's not about hindsight. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. But when you've seen the course of, a season and a half that we've been linked with, sorry about that, and you can see that we've needed a striker who can guarantee 20 plus goals. It should come as no surprise now. It's no surprise now that we've arrived at this point without even considering. We've arrived at this point without even have brought an out-and-out striker. So again, this is down to Edu, Mikel Arteta, and the board. All right, you can't tell me, the course of 38 games owning in the Premier League, you can't tell me you didn't foresee injuries. You didn't foresee, legit African Cup of Nations. I'll get to that with Thomas Partey. And you couldn't foresee suspensions. That's part and parcel of our game. So you've got to prepare for the worst case scenario. And it's just not been good. Not been good at all. So hey ho, Brentford, they won't be selling Ivan Toney. Maybe we could probably go for him in the summer of 2024. And by then we will know definitely that Arsenal would not have won the Premier League. That's it, market. It's 3:15 p.m. UK time. Yeah. 2nd of January, market. And actually, I said it before, Arsenal are not going to win the Premier League this time round. They're not going to win it. And it is disappointing because you want your club, as well as the players, to have a winning mentality, to be ruthless. You've got to be ruthless. But we haven't shown that yet again. Haven't shown it. Anyway, I just thought I kind of get that off my chest. We will not be getting Ivan Toney. All right. We were going to market and buy a striker. No, we won't. Because that's just not the way that Mikel Arteta wants the players to play. Again, you look at Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and, Eddie Nketiah to a certain extent, last season, banging in the numbers, scoring the goals. But last season was last season. Goodness, just send me all in one. Sorry, guys, sorry about this. We need to. What's going on? Right, I hope that would disable it. That was last season. So again, you need to preempt certain things in the future. We can't, see the future, but you need to preempt certain things. Like I said, injuries, suspensions, players going off on international duty. You should know these things are going to happen. Don't arrive at the door of the transfer window thinking, actually, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Oh no, we're going to buy a striker. If you're really serious about winning the Premier League, go in there and buy a striker. Doesn't have to be a striker 60 million, 70 million, 80 million. If our scouting network is a good network, we would have, I don't know, earmarked a striker who can do the business, irrespective of whether they play for a championship team or a low league in the Spanish league. Our scouting is not that great. It's not great. Right. What else did I want to talk about? So yeah, he's not coming. Ivan Toney will not be coming to Arsenal. Right. God, daring me, man. Anyway. Now, Thomas Partey, another much maligned player. Why? Because of his injury record, at least the time that he spent with us at Arsenal. Now, the 30-year-old is one of the Black Stars' most senior players. Yeah, Ghanaian with 47 caps, and is a huge miss for the country as they look to win the competition for the first time since 1982. Yes. But Ghanaian boss Chris Houghton of Houghton opens up on why the Arsenal star Thomas Partey was omitted from the African Cup of Nations squad. Thomas Partey for sure, and I'd say this is not a detrimental way to the squad that we have, but he is one of our most important players. The ex-Brighton boss said, we know, and withstanding his injury, he certainly would be in the squad. We know the quality of the player that he is. This is a player that has a substantial injury. I've spent a lot over this period of time with Thomas, and also engaging with the medical staff at Arsenal Football Club. As you can write, where's he going with this? And they will treat this injury with caution. And so with the player, this is a big injury for him and the biggest injury that he has had. The most important thing for me as a head coach and association is to give him support that he needs through this period. From all the information that we've been given, the timelines of his recovery and the caution that will be taken will not meet our timelines for the AFCON. Partey had a horror season at Arsenal this season, having made just 5 appearances in all competitions. 5 appearances in all competitions. The midfielder was initially ruled out with a groin injury in the early stages of the campaign, but after making a recovery, he was back in the physio's room. Just days later, when his injuries of the hamstring. Now, Mikel Arteta has not given a timeline on his return, while he might have to consider a long-term replacement for the January transfer window. I want your thoughts. I need your thoughts about Thomas Partey. You know what? I remember telling my wife when I first met my wife, and I was saying to her, I used to live and work in Costa Rica, Central America. And now I'm back in England. Came back here in 2009 because my father passed away. So I got my business out there. She goes, and? I said, well, I got it out there, but is it working? I said, well, no. So what's the point then? It's like saying you've got a dad, but your dad is dead. I think, right, that's a bit harsh. Thomas Partey, as probably one of the best, I can't say a box-to-box midfielder that he is at Arsenal. He's no use to us if he's always injured. Only 5 games across all competitions. 5 games across all competitions is no use to us. No use at all. Have we missed him? Well, possibly. We never got to see him really start in the midfield. Where did we see him start? As an inverted right back. An inverted right back. Again, this is down to Mikel Arteta. Down to Mikel Arteta. Not quite the Tinkerman. I mean, it's one thing being injured. There's quite another thing when you have been scouting midfield, in the quality of Declan Rice. And then come the time for both of those players to play in the midfield, their best position there. No, you prefer to have Thomas Partey as an inverted right back. So this might upset some of you. It might not upset any one of you. But I've said this a long time ago that Thomas Partey, we need to sell. I'm not even thinking about, let's try and recoup that 40 odd million pounds that we spent on him. We're never going to recoup that money unless you're thinking about sending him to a pro Saudi team. Need to sell those players. Got to sell those players. And I was watching another podcast late last night actually, and they were going hell for leather. I'm not going to mention their name, but I like what I hear, man. I like what I hear. I mean, they were going in hard on, Mikel Arteta. Why do we still have Mohamed Elneny? Why do we have Reece Nelson? Why do we have those players there? They need to be sold. And I've got to say, I agree. Reece Nelson for me is not going to make it. Mohamed Elneny, can't say fantasy football, but you think, you want to stay at Arsenal. You got given one final contract. You said you wanted to finish your career at Arsenal. That's fantastic. But truth be told, in the cold light of day, when you've got Arsenal, which is probably still the third biggest club in the country, trying to win the Premier League, should have won it last season. I'm sorry, but players like Mohamed Elneny, and again, I love Mohamed Elneny, he's probably scored more goals still than Thomas Partey. You've got to sell those players. Emil Smith Rowe, big part player in a bigger picture, can't get a start for love of money. I don't know, man. I don't know. Liam, what do you think, man? Dearie me. So yeah, Mikel Arteta, has a lot to answer for. Really, really a lot to answer for. And if we're going to talk about, the striker, which striker? I do give respect to Dominic Solanke, but is he really the player, the striker that we need? For me, it's more like for like. It's more like, look at his stats. Not scored more than 20 goals in one particular season. He's probably having, one of his best seasons. But is he the answer? I don't think he is. Again, come into a live chat and let me know your thoughts. But for me, Dominic Solanke is not the answer. Not the answer. And if you're of the view that he is, let me know why you think he is. And you can't just say, because he's Premier League proven. Premier League, he has to produce the goods. What are the goods? Score goals. I thought Bukayo had a stinker of a game against Fulham. Martinelli, not the best of games. Come in the live chat and let me know your thoughts. So that these are all the new segments currently running on this afternoon show. I'm going to be on another platform in just short of an hour and a half's time. Just that was the sound that somebody was sending me the topics that we're going to discuss. But Mikel Arteta, and let me just quickly look at the. This is the current table as it stands. All right, so you probably saw the game yesterday, Liverpool versus Newcastle. It was a dive for me, actually. Diogo Jota, that was a dive, man. Aston Villa in second, 42 points. Man City, 40 points. Arsenal in fourth place with 40 points with 20 played. Denmark down the road on 39 points, just 1 point behind us, and then West Ham on 33 points. Now, when I look at this table here and how the season has gone so far, I would have to say, again, maybe you probably don't remember me saying this. When I look at how the season has gone so far this season, it's been more about no particular one team has dominated. Everyone's tripping up over themselves. And I think, call me harsh, that is why you see the likes of Arsenal there. Man City, they've got De Bruyne coming back. Erling Haaland's coming back. So they're going to build up a head of steam, probably, 6, 7, 8 games run. Aston Villa, still an unknown quantity. Might end up in the top 4, which means they'll get in the Champions League. But Unai Emery will not be thinking about, we're going to be just happy to be in the top 4. No, they'll be thinking about winning the Premier League. They will be thinking about winning the Premier League. And in regards to Liverpool, again, question mark, because now Salah, who missed a penalty, scored a penalty, then had an assist and scored another goal, is off now to the African Cup of Nations. But for me, it's more about looking at those teams there and seeing no one particular club is saying, right, you know what, we're going to go out there, we're going to win it. No, all the teams are, tripping up, each of themselves. You know what I mean? Not one team is dominating in the Premier League. And I understand that Liverpool are at the top, but things can change. Things can change very, very quickly. Right. Let me go into the live chat and just see who's coming to the live chat. And I've got Tony. Tony, Happy New Year to you, fella. I know you're not back at work. I'm not back at work. I don't even know where my new placement is going to be just yet. But Happy New Year to you. To you. New? Happy New York. Happy. Oh, all right. Okay. You mean Happy New Year? That's a good one. Whoops. What put on here? The German lad, Leverkusen, Victor Boniface looks good. I haven't seen him, so I can only go by what you're saying there. But I imagine he won't cost in excess of 70 or 80 million pounds, I think. Hey, Alex in the chat room. Assembled, Happy New Year to you, fella. I hope you are keeping well. There is no replacement out there for Partey, but we need improvements to Oneni and Jorginho. Well, Tony, why can't we just sell? I mean, again, I'm not looking at sell on value. He's occupying a space, not only him, but other players who are not going to catapult us to the Premier League. They're occupying spaces that probably, again, if our scouting network could do a proper job, get players who are going to fight and actually say, right, when we need to make some changes for the first team, the drop-off is not so substantial. And this is what we've seen. Still making 1 or 2 changes. The drop-off is quite substantial. But Reece Nelson, for me, is not going to make it. Mohamed Ali, I think, rather than giving him 1 more year's contract extension, probably should have been sold. And then he could have been one of the coaches at Arsenal. So we've still got players occupying positions where surely if we're going to the market, did our homework, we could have probably had more quality there. Notice I haven't even spoken about Kai Havertz. I refuse to talk about Kai Havertz. An inverted right back is a 6er. Stop ignoring this fact. I'm not ignoring the fact, Tony. What I'm saying is that when you've got someone whose mobility is not that great, when you look at, you brought a Declan Rice, we've been tracking him for how long, to pair him as a double pivot with Thomas Partey. The moment we get this player, he's as inverted, and then his recovery speed is not that great. I can't remember which game it was. Maybe it was against Fulham, I think, when we first played against them. Once he kind of inverted, the ball came back in that position that he just left. So if you're going to have inverted right back, make sure they've got great mobility. Thomas Partey recovery speed is not that great. 30. A player forever plagued with injuries, struggling maybe, I don't know, with the weather or the pace and the physicality of the Premier League. So 6'6", yeah, as it inverted, Make sure that player is quality and has great recovery speed. Thomas Partey, no, sorry. In my opinion, the full story of the dressing room antics isn't in the public domain. But well, I tell you what, assembled. When I was watching this podcast last night, they were talking about it. They went hell for leather talking about it, and they appeared to be, I don't want to say well connected, but they were speaking because somebody had told them that there's a little bit of disharmony amongst the players. I would say mainly, but one of the issues is because as how they see Aaron Ramsdale has been treated. But I'm not going to mention the podcast. I'm sorry, I can't mention the podcast, but I thought, oh my goodness. I'm not taking Solanke. Why not Solanke? Why not Solanke? Young, athletic, can header. Yeah, he can score left foot, right foot, I think. Why not Solanke, Tony? I'm not telling you. I set up late watching the podcast. I just saw, because I was watching some previous videos that this particular gentleman did. He used to feature, or probably still does feature on AFTV. I don't know because I don't watch AFTV. But yeah, these guys were just hammering out last night, thinking, "Oh my goodness." Yeah, I'm not gonna say the podcast. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Eltel, the original Godfather, reporting, sir. Eltel, Happy New Year to you, fella. We've got to get you back onto Cannon Fodder once we're fully up and running. There is no Easy Talk this Friday. Probably back next week, as well as all the other segments. But original Godfather, Happy New Year to you, fella. Arteta needs an experienced assistant manager who stands up to him. But that is not the only ingredient. It's not the only ingredient. There are so many elements to this story being played out. You know, about the recruitment. I sound like a broken record, Tel. The recruitment, the tactics, the management, the mentality, all those elements there gives us the sum total of where we are now. And yes, I understand that those who have their glasses half full, and still in top four, that's wonderful, wonderful. But when you look about how we perform against West Ham, how we perform against Fulham, that should tell you a story there. Players, our 4-star, 5-star players, are all off form. They're all off form. And Eddie Nketiah is our second top scorer in the Premier League. Eddie Nketiah. I'm not saying, sell Eddie Nketiah. If you're thinking that, then so be it. But to have a strong assistant, that's great, Tel. But the picture is so much bigger than this. Than that. If Arteta was to depart during this week window, the new manager couldn't buy anyone because of the FFP. Saliba, Martinelli, Saka would have to be a part of a fire sale to get money to spend allegedly to improve the squad. The other thing as well, they did speak about our number 29. Yeah, Kai Havertz. They just couldn't understand why we had to go into the window and buy a player at £65 million. I'm not going to get on that debate, but they spoke about so many issues. I think, oh my goodness, I forgot about this and I forgot about that. I did want to speak about very quickly about the goalkeeper situation, but like I've alluded to it, there is something that these guys said on their podcast, that there's some disharmony because of how the players feel about seeing how Aaron Ramsdale has been treated. There's a little bit of disharmony there. Again, I'm just going by what they told me. I mean, I've got no real source of information apart that. But Mikel Arteta, yes, he needs a strong number 2. But holding on to players, continue playing players who now are failing or out of form. We've seen this all before, Tel. We've seen this all before. Right. Have I done? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, people. God, dear me. We did a poll. Did we do a poll? Yes, we did. All right, it won't play for. All right, come on, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Right, I was hoping to see the poll here. Oh, right, here it is. So, we asked the question: will a striker make a big difference if we were to buy the striker in the January transfer window? And so far, whoops, come on, we have had 11 votes. And the question is again: will a striker make a big difference? Choose only one. Out of 11 votes, 80% of the votes say no, and 82%, yeah, 82% say actually having a quality striker guaranteeing the goals in bucket loads will make a difference. 82%. Go and tell Mikel Arteta because he ain't listening. He's not listening to me. Doesn't listen to me. Right. Whoops. But yeah, this some FFP situation. We got ourselves in a situation there. We can't blame anybody else. We got ourselves in that situation there. You take stock of what you have, sell off what you have, which is no use to you, and try and reinvest that money on other players. Surely it should be as simple as that. What's happened here? Robert Johnson, greetings and good vibrations to you, family, for the coming year. Robert Johnson, I wish you the best for this new year, 2024. And boy, has the time flown by. It's just like the other day I was at primary school. And boom, all of a sudden, I'm in my late 50s. And actually, this Saturday is going to be on my birthday. Late 50s, tell. Yeah. But anyway, good to see you in the live chat, my friend. What about the treatment of Martinez, Niles, and Gunduzi, Alba? Yes, it had to come back to bite him eventually. Yeah, they also. You sure you wasn't watching the same podcast I was watching last night? They were saying the same thing, and actually, I was watching one this morning. Oh my goodness! Again, no free advertisements here, but they did a watch along, and oh god, my goodness! I don't know, man. I don't know. Really, I'm not sure what to say. What do you think, Liam? Chippy. Liam, what do you think, man? Sack a lot of them, Alex. Sack a lot. Get rid of them, Alex. That's a terrible Irish accent, man. I hope Liam Chippy Brady's not listening. All right. Okay. I think we are finished. I believe we are finished. And again, we won't be getting Ivan Toney. Brian Wimmer out for 12 weeks means we're not getting Ivan Toney, because what club, what manager would want to sell their the better striker of the two? I mean, would you sell one of our strikers if you really needed him? Brentford are not about to sell Ivan Toney. So we need to forget about that. He will not be coming to Arsenal. And then I spoke about this guy here, Solanke, Dominic Solanke. To me, it's just like for like. We don't have any out-and-out strikers that we can rely on and say, all right, you know what? Knowing that the goal is open, he's not going to miss a header. He's getting around the goalkeeper. He's going to score. Much like, I'll say it, Ian Wright. For sure, he's going to score. For sure, he's going to score. But for me, Dominic Solanke is not the answer. Not the answer. I probably would have gone for Dusan Vlahovic, but I guess that's never going to happen. But Dominic Solanke, not for me. Not for me. We spoke very briefly about the goalkeeping situation. And again, I can only go by what I heard on this platform last night, that there seems to be a little disgruntlement amongst some of the players. It seems like there could be a divide. The players are not happy as to the way that Aaron Ramsdale has been treated. Oh my goodness. And apparently at the game, these guys were saying is that you could hear that when Raya went down in the Fulham game, a lot of the fans were saying, yeah, cheering, because they were wanting to see Aaron Ramsdale. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So it seems like they're divided. Let me remove that very quickly. Yeah, some of the fan base want to see Aaron Ramsdale back at Arsenal, and some are never going to forgive sorry about that. Yeah, Mikel Arteta for buying David Raya. To me, I look at it this way. If you're saying there's not much difference between David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale, then surely you would keep David Raya in goal. Because if you're changing the goalkeeper situation, change the goalkeeper, surely you're going to get the same performance. Do you understand what I mean? If you're saying that these two goalkeepers are roughly the same, changing the goalkeeper is not going to make any difference. That's the way that I saw it anyway. And also we spoke at the top of the show about a report basically saying that these two wingers are the main reason why Arsenal will not win the Premier League. I was thinking, are you sure about that? I don't think so. You know, Martinelli only scored 3 goals, I think, so far, compared to last season, ended up scoring 15 goals. And Bukayo Saka has had a real stinker, but yeah, it seems like we can't talk about Bukayo Saka because Bukayo Saka is the golden boy. Golden boy, so we can't talk about golden boy, can we? Well, I can, anyway, at least. And then we spoke finally about Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey, for me, we have to sell Thomas Partey. Hasn't gone to the African Cup of Nations because I didn't realize Chris Houghton or Houghton. Is it Houghton or Houghton? Chris Houghton. Anyway, the Ghanaian manager has said that they've done their maths and he won't be going to the African Cup of Nations because he's sustained a serious injury. I was thinking, well, for us, at least at Arsenal, he's no use to us if he's going to be occupying the physio's bench. Only 5 games across all seasons, all competitions this season. Only 5 appearances. That's nowhere near enough. Sell him for a midfield that's more durable. And in regards to, number 6, he wears number 6, and number 6 is inverted. Make sure that number 6 is more mobile and more robust and doesn't break down, much like Thomas Partey. And I think we are done. Oh, just one more look at the Premier League table. Liverpool played 20, 45 points. Aston Villa played 20, 42 points. Man City in 3rd place. 1 game in the hand. Yeah, they could leapfrog over Aston Villa and go into 3rd if they win their next game. And Arsenal sit in 4th place. Oh my goodness. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Oh, dearie me. Anyway, I need to go and eat me porridge. No, I don't eat porridge. I don't eat porridge. But I'm going to be appearing on Cozy. Can I put his channel's details? Anyway, I'm going to be in another platform in an hour and 15 minutes time. Just, talking about Arsenal, man. The situation that we are in. Again, I get it. You know, those of you who have your glasses in a half full, think, but we're still in there with a shout. You know, we're only 5 points off, the leaders. I'm thinking, but Man City, they're getting, now you can see they're getting back into that, how can I say it? They're gaining some traction now, aren't they? They're gaining some traction. Kevin De Bruyne came back. Erling Haaland is just a little bit short off returning. So they're going to get back in there. So unbeaten run of 6-7 oh my goodness. Last season was our best chance. No pressure. There was no pressure there. This season, there is pressure. Expectation. Spent over £700 million. £700 million. That comes with expectations. We're giving us money. We expect something in return. It's not going to happen, people. It's not going to happen. Right, let's just this last comment here. I believe from Eltel. Oops. Arteta has boxed himself into a corner. Players will turn on him. Too many empty promises. Will win the Champions League within 3 years. Maybe it's been four seasons now with him. And by that, I'm not saying I'm Arteta out. I'm not. A happy birthday in advance for Saturday. A few more years, and you'll be. My goodness. I tell you what, Tony. You know my brother Ralph. You know the funny thing is, when my brother was telling me, "Oh, but I've got my pass, my free pass." That's free pass. Oh my goodness, my brother's 60. Oh my goodness, man. Time waits for no man. West Ham, the lower tier. No way is Cronky putting me in that box. Neither am I. I'll tell. Yeah, there you go. Momentum. Yeah, traction, momentum. Yeah, they're gaining momentum now, aren't they? All right, people. I'm out of here. I couldn't find the link for the other platform. The podcast I'm gonna be on in an hour and 10 minutes. Once I finish, I will put the link in there. Can I do it now? I can't do it now. But thank you for sharing time with me on Canon 4 in the Canon 4 TV village. The Canon 4 TV village. Do you know what I'm reading, Tel? I've been reading this again. Unai Emery. El Maestro, the teacher. He's got a few lessons to teach Mikel Arteta. Anyway, people, have a wonderful day, and I will be back possibly a little bit later, I think. I'll be back a little bit later. Yeah. I'll be back a little bit later. I might invite a guest or two or three. But until then, this has been Canon for the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.